Greetings. This is Adam Rafferty, and in this lesson series, I'm going to show you how to play my solo arrangement of the famous Norah Jones song entitled Don't Know Why. I've made some notes here for this getting started video, and the first thing I want to tell you is, boy, does time fly. I remember meeting Norah Jones in New York before she was famous, and she actually sat in with a jazz group that I was playing with, and then became famous with this song. It was released in 2002, and it's about to become 2022, so the song has been out for almost 20 years. Wow, time is flying. Pretty crazy. So I finally did a solo arrangement of it. And for those of you who are interested, my original song, Ciao Bella, was kind of inspired by the voice leading aspect of this song. Not the same chord changes, but by the inner voice movement. So when I came up with Ciao Bella, this was actually, Don't Know Why, was hitting the airwaves, as they used to say. Okay, so a couple notes. The key that the original song is in is B flat. So I did this with a capo on the first fret, as you can see in my YouTube video, but just for the ease of learning and tablature and all that, we're going to do everything in the key of A, because it just keeps things tidier for a learning format. And then when you're feeling ready, if you want, you can just put a capo on the first fret and play the whole thing. Okay, now as I recall, the tempo is around 84. And many of you who know me know that I'm not a metronome guy. I don't advise students to practice with a metronome. But this tempo, keeping the tempo, is really important on this one, and it's really hard to keep slow enough. So I'm going to show you a technique right now that I discovered to help slow me down, because it's easy to speed up. It's hard to stay at the right tempo. One of the things I do in this piece is I play a lot more with my thumb than the other fingers. So that's probably a little slower than 84, but this is sort of a trick that not a trick, but an observation that I had once when I was teaching a group of teenage kids, that when they did things like alternate picking, they sped up, but when they stayed with the downs, the tempo was more grounded. So while it may make a lot more sense to do finger picking, things like that, you'll see sometimes I do it like that. It's a little bit more of a caveman approach. It helps me stay in the tempo. You'll have to decide for yourself if that works. You don't have to do that. Now, the first thing that we're going to do is a breakdown of the three voice structure. And it's a little bit of a theory lesson. I might even do it on tonight's Zoom chat for Study with Adam. And then we're going to get into learning the tune. But by learning this three voice breakdown, you're learning the nuts and bolts of the structure of the tune. So let's get started with the harmony and voicing breakdown of Don't Know Why. All right. Welcome back. In this video, we're going to look at some basic harmony structures on which this song is based. And if you understand this, it will make everything much easier. You'll be able to see the forest from the trees, so to speak. So grab your guitar and play along with me. And as I said, I prepared this separate from the actual song tablatures because tonight is one of the Study with Adam Zoom chats. It's December 28th, 2021 today. And I think I might go through this live on air tonight. And it's just kind of a cool, it's kind of a cool thing. And well, let's get started. There are 3 melody lines that interweave. Imagine that you could have 3 parts, like 3 singers or 3 violins or whatever, 3 independent parts. And that's what makes this thing flow so beautifully. Once we put it on the guitar, we might flesh it out with a few extra notes so chords sound fuller. But there are 3 basic melody lines. So the first thing that we're going to do, let's just keep our ears open. You can grab your guitar. Let's play the counter melody line. You hear this in the piano and the guitar. I want to lead you through the thought process of how I ended up at the arrangement. So watch this. We're going to play first fret, then open, now that's not quite what we're going to do in the arrangement, but I want you to see this is just practically a chromatic scale. Do you see how I sang the vocal melody and that went right with it? So that is the counter melody. Okay? Now, I just want you to hear that and follow the tabs on screen. You can play along with that. Please play along with it by all means. Now, let's add the roots. Let's pretend there's a bass player there. Okay? Remember, this is just structure right now so you can see and hear what's happening, bigger picture. Okay, so we're going to put an A on the A string on the bottom of this one. Okay, then we're going to... So see, do you see the bass went A, D, and we went... Then, now watch, the bass is going to leap around a little bit. Just look at that bass line. I'm going to play just the bottom part now. Okay, now I'm going to sing the melody just with the bass. Be dun 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 da da. Boom be bum boom bum bum bum. But now when I put the middle in, be bum bum boom boom bum boom bum. Boom be bum boom boom bum bum. Okay. Now it's starting to get kind of muddy down here in the bottom end. We're gonna talk about that. Okay, so now I've made a simple version of the vocal melody, just very much on the beat, without any kind of bluesiness or funkiness, because it's a little easier on the eyes. So go ahead and play this along with me. Ready and. I know it's totally unfunky and unsyncopated, but it helps us play the chords as blocks. Okay, let's go to the next example. Play along with me. You can roll the chords if you want. That might help you hear the different elements of the chord better than just playing them all at once. So I'm going to roll them just so you can hear things a little bit easier. Okay, 1, 2, ready, and. Okay? You know me, I love my music theory, I love Bach, I love voice leading, which this is called voice leading. We have 3 voices flowing horizontally. If we stop them at any moment, they look like they're making chords, but they're flowing beautifully from the left side of the page to the right side of the page. Okay, so now look at the next example. We're going to, instead of going down here, we're going to jump up an octave. That's a trick that Bach and many composers use. Imagine the line, it's still the same notes, but we're fooling you. We're going to change the register and then continue the line to clear things up, to get it up out of the mud. So, I know it sounds weird. Okay? So, we're going to do that. That's allowed. We're keeping the colors of the line, of those notes, the same. We're retaining those colors, but we're doing some crafty stuff to brighten things up and make it sound a little clearer. So with the bass, now this is going to sound weird all by itself. Sorry. Okay? Now, here's what's going to happen. For the first 2 notes of the melody, when we go wee da da, when we do that, the counter melody is under it. The vocal melody, and then counter melodies down here, and then after that, the vocal melody is actually in the middle, and the counter melody is higher. So watch. I'm just going to play the top 2 voices now. That's the counter melody. That's the vocal melody. And then, now that's going to go in the middle. The other voice is going to cross. So it's going to sound like this. 1, 2, ready, and. Okay. Now, one of the tricks that I recommend is when you do the melody on the song, notice how if I'm doing this with my thumb, don't know why you didn't call, right? If I do that with my thumb, it has a certain weight and a power, and I can really differentiate the color from the top. I can really differentiate that volume-wise and tone-wise from the counter melody, which is up top, because I predict many students who are going to send me their versions are going to have counter melodies that are way too loud. So we want to keep the volume on that. We want to keep the volume on the counter melody down a little bit, and we want to keep the melody in focus with the thumb. So I'm going to play all 3 parts now. And then we can maybe flesh out the last chord. So when we play it in the performance, I'm going to do a lot of that middle melody with my thumb. I hope this has given you some clarity on the structure of the voicings and the harmony. All right, so let's get into the performance of the song. All right. All righty, welcome back. In this lesson, we're going to start looking at the intro of Don't Know Why. It's an instrumental intro before the vocals come in. And I just want to congratulate you already on having gotten through that first lesson regarding the voicings and the harmony. That's going to make everything a whole lot easier to see. Now, I want to give you a general recommendation as you learn this. Okay? If you could see what I have on the floor here, I have lyrics from like a typical internet lyrics site, and then I have my own little notes of the lyrics when I learned it to indicate where she kind of sang things slightly different. And the reason I'm saying that is if you can go with your ears, allowing the vocals to make an imprint on your musical psyche, that's a lot easier than trying to memorize every little weird lick that she sings or that the band plays. The song is very repetitive. It's this over and over again. It's that over and over and over and over again, and we need these little special details that change to sort of be floating around in us musically. So, and if you can really listen to her sing it, allow that to make an imprint, maybe hum along, sing along, try to nail the phrasing. It will bring that humanness to the arrangement as you play it, because what I just played for you right there was the strict mechanics. Okay, so let's get started with the intro. I finger this a little bit differently than what you see on the YouTube video. It's easier now. So that's the good news. Okay, so I want you to go to 5th position, line your first finger up with the 5th fret, and you're going to play 2nd finger, 3rd string, 6th fret, and you're going to play 3rd finger, 7th fret, 4th string. And you're going to come back here with to the 4th fret with your 1st finger. You can bar the top 2 strings. Okay? Or you can just actually play the top string. So watch what it's going to be. Those 2 notes together. And then thumb all by itself. And then you bring the 1st finger up. Now 3rd and 2nd string. Okay. And you can figure out what works for your right hand over here. I do it a little differently each time. Okay. Now, watch this next move. This is where it's going to come down to this thing that is like a D chord. You're going to do this with your 2nd and 3rd finger. This is one of the key moves of the song. Now, I hammer that. You can play it like that, or you can hammer if you want it to be a little more soulful. But it's got to be with the 2nd and 3rd finger. And again, it might feel awkward to do this with your thumb on the right hand. I do it like that some of the time. So now watch this. Pull off to the 1st fret, and then you've got to get the pinky up to the C sharp. Actually, you don't have to do a pull off. Now, you might be wondering what chord that is. That's a really weird chord. It's called C sharp augmented 5th. So that would be a C sharp 7, but the 5th of the chord is raised. Then 2nd and 3rd finger, then fourth. I'm boring. Maybe I went a little fast. I'll play this slow again then. Now, there's a couple different ways you can play this. I do that for maximum ringing. You could go. But with the E in the bass, it's supposed to be like a E suspended something. So I'm going to do this intro nice and slow, and these fingerings with the 2 and 3 and getting this pinky up to the C sharp. I know it's a hard move. I really recommend for that, watch what I'm doing. Instead of grabbing, see how my pinky looks diagonal? We don't want to do that. Let your pinky be curled and turn like you're rotating your forearm so that your finger is relaxed and you're using your arm to get there. And if you see how there's that nice curve in the pinky, because if you do that, that's going to be really strenuous and difficult. That's extending the pinky diagonally. So this is something, unfortunately, in my arrangements, because I was a classical guitar guy, my hands are built to do this. So if you look in the center cam, it feels like you're turning your index finger, the knuckle of your index finger, you're rotating so it goes a little closer to the floor. See that? I'm turning it so the knuckle goes closer to the floor just from rotating this way. Okay? So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. I'll play it one more time. 2, 1, 2, ready, and. Okay. So woven into those moving arpeggios are the lines that we've looked at. Alrighty, let's go to the next video where we're going to do the first phrase. All right. Alrighty, we are at the first vocal phrase of the song. And the lyric here is, I waited till I saw the sun. Don't know why I didn't come. So this is sort of the basis of all of this movement. Now, what I would like to point out to you is, watch. This next note is the first note that's vocally sung. So bling, bling, bling. I waited till. That's where Norah Jones starts singing. So I don't want you to see these notes of equal value. I want you to see this is accompaniment, 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 and then you got to hear that. The word I waited till I saw the sun. Okay? So here we go. I'm going to walk you through the moves. This is a little bit of juggling. It's a little tricky, but just go slow and you'll get it. Go to the 4th fret, first finger, first string, 4th fret, and then third and 4th finger, and then 3rd and 4th finger are on the 3rd and 4th string in the 6th fret. And you're going to have the open B string. Sounds like that. Now, I like to pluck this over here on the right hand, middle, index on the third. So I'm leaving out the second string, and I allow my second finger to just graze that second string. So we hear the note, but the first string is getting prominence because I'm making more contact with the first string. So that's the first weighted. Now look at your left hand, bring the third finger down to the second finger, 5th fret. Can you hear it? Okay. The vocal mud, and then that's the counter melody down there. These others are just filler. We fill. Now watch this. All by itself. Hammer the first to the third finger, 4th fret to 6th fret. I waited till. That's the word I, even though we're playing 2 notes. Now watch what I like to do. 2nd finger, 4th fret, slide up to the 6th fret, then down to the 2nd fret. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and you could slide that. I wrote in slide on the music I see. The important thing is that you get into there with a move from under. It'll sound more soulful. Okay, then we're here on the 2nd finger. Now watch this. This is tricky now. Our counter melody is that E. So we've got I don't know. So don't know. And now 3rd and 4th finger come up to the 4th fret. So you're going to play these 2 and then a bass note. Now, strange move coming here. Okay? You're going to lift the 3rd finger off and just play those 2. And then you're going to come down to here. Okay? Don't know why I did. So, don't know why I did. That's I did. And it's going to be I didn't call. Melodies in the thumb. And then what I do is I try to let that note sustain, and I just put a bass note and a little bit of shimmer on the top. So okay, I'm going to go over that again. I want to point out some phrasing that might be kind of peculiar to you. Don't know why I didn't call. You hear where didn't call? Bum bam bam. I didn't call. Ding ding dang. That's a funny rhythm if you think about it. Don't know why I didn't call. It's almost like an illusion. It sounds like something else other than what it is. So I'm going to play bars 1 through 4 now, slowly for you. It's critical that you get this down because everything else, except for the bridge, is kind of a variation on this. We're always going to make little variations, but this is the basic meat and potatoes of the arrangement here. Okay, so 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, and. Did you hear how I put a little low E there? Watch. Okay? So I'm doing little bass notes where I have room to do them. I'm going to go even slower. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 3, and. Okay, so we're going to go through now, and I'm going to try to point out the little idiosyncrasies with each vocal. But what the important thing is, you won't get it if you just follow the fingerings. You have to get it in your ears from her recording. And if you ever see me live and I play this, basically I'm going to go full intuitive. I'm not worried about memorizing each little lick. I want to have sort of the various melodies floating in my ears so that I can lean into them almost like they were licks, and to make it sound like a human performance. Okay, so definitely lean into your ears and your intuition as you listen to her sing it. Let's go on to, I suppose the lyric sites call this verse 2. Let's go on to the next section. All right. Welcome back. So we're at the next line. The line that she sings, the lyric, is, I left you by the house of fun. I left you by the house of fun. And then, don't know why I didn't call. Oh, second time. Don't know why I didn't call. Okay? So here is an example of using ears and intuition rather than analysis. So I listened a bunch to how she sang, I left you by the house of fun. I don't even really know what that rhythm is, the house of fun. I could figure it out. But it's important to hear that. There's a little bit more movement in that. Something like that. See, I play that bang-a-dang. I play that a little bit differently. It's basically the same fingerings. So it's important to know the lyric there, okay? Now, she then does, I don't know why I didn't call, and then, oh, there's that low note, like when we started. So, okay. I'm going to play this for you slowly now from the top. It's just important to have these different sounds of the phrasing going on in your ears. This should not be a neurotic quest to get every detail right. You can filter the details on the way in, but then make music with it if you get those first basic moves. So let's do it this far from the intro, okay? 1, 2, ready, and. Okay, and then verse 2 is coming up next. This is totally guided by my ears following the lyrics. Okay, I think I'm driving the point home. You might feel like I glossed over, but it's the same fingerings. You have to hear the lyrics in your head and try to connect the melody to what's happening. Let's go to the next video, and we'll go to verse 2. All right. Welcome back. We are now at verse 2, and the lyric that we're going to take a look at is, "When I saw the break of day, I wish that I could fly away." And she sings this a little bit different, especially "fly away." This has to do with the rhythm. Again, me telling you one time is not enough to teach it so that it wires into your system. You'll have to listen to the original. So it's 2, 3, 4. Blah, 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 the break of day. 1, 2, ready. 1, 2, ready, and. When I saw the break of day, wish that I could fly away. So the fly away happens a little quicker. Bim, bim, ba, boom, bam, ba, ding, 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 ding. Okay? And right after that fly away comes a little piano fill. So I'm going to put this all together for you. Again, go deep on the way she sings the song. So here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Wish that So, wish that I'd. Can you hear how that's a little faster? Bam, ba, dang, ding, tick, tick, bam, ba, dang. We're playing that differently, and then that's how we played the other one. It's a very subtle little thing. Now you're going to slide up to that with your third finger, and then what I like to do is I put my second finger down on the D string just for some muting, and then that's a piano fill. So 1, 2, ready, and. Okay, the only way I can remember all of that is knowing the sound of the original. Now we're doing pretty good. We're only about 4 minutes deep. I think I'm going to go to the next 2 lines in verse 2, which also have some variations. Now the lyric here is, instead of kneeling in the sand. New melody notes. Instead of kneeling in sand. And that lands right on that. So open E string, so instead of kneeling in the sand. Okay, now this next thing, this fourth line of verse 2 is really different. And if you're playing the song, this is like actually a different move, because you'll know that when we get to this part, we always go, when we get to that F sharp, here we have to actually pinch these notes together. It feels physically different. And the phrasing is this. I'm sort of reading off my transcription. Catching teardrops in my hand. So that's going to look like, okay, you're going to go catching, and then from the 5th fret, going to slide down on both of those, and then B all by itself. So it's teardrops. That melody is in the middle. Let's do that much again. Ready and catching. 1, 2, 3, and. Now before that, so that E string is ringing. Now watch. Teardrops. Then you're going to do single line. Then you're going to hold that. Sorry. In my. And then you're going to pull both of those off. It's very tricky. There's a lot going on there. You gotta really slow that down. So. You could even go, yeah, I pull off both. One more time, the catching teardrops in my hand. So let me show you what I'm doing with the left hand there. Catching. After that D, I am barring the 4th and 3rd string, so that when I pull off, I have all the notes of an A chord. That is really tricky. Okay, that is a move you might have to practice all by itself. I'm going to play verse 2 for you now with all these variations. And remember, the lyric is, when I saw the break of day. Then the different tempo, wish that I could fly away. That was the different rhythm. Now, in the sand. Now the really different, catching teardrops in my hand. You see, these little subtle differences are really the details that make it. So I'm going to go a little bit slower, starting from when I saw the break of day. Okay, here we go. A 1 and 2 and ready and 4 and. That's a lot of stuff weaving in and out. Let me play that for you one more time. Okay? 1, 2, 3. tink, chicka, tink, chicka. 1, 2, ready, and. Sounds simple because it's slow, but there's a lot of inner voice movement to keep track of. Alrighty, let's go on to the bridge. Next video. All right.